I have been watching everything all day today, and I wanted to wait until I really felt like I had a grasp on the various news developments before I gave my analysis or gave anything, even just updated the news. But let me go ahead now. Let's start with Tesla news. Let's start with this one. This is from Chamath Palpatia. He says, I saw it's, and the chief nerd is reporting on it. He says, I saw Elon Musk on Tuesday. This was on the All In podcast yesterday. He says, and I got to spend a couple of hours with him at Tesla. He attracts these incredible men and women to work for him. They are so inspiring, he says. Sitting in a meeting and hearing what they were doing was amazing. He says, I would not be sleeping on this company. Yeah, there you go. Elon activated Starlink in Iran, contrary to the restrictions of the leadership there, or at least that is what's being reported by the Israeli news resources. They're saying that Elon himself said that he's done that. So I've only seen it at one source, but that would be pretty interesting if the people of Iran now have the availability to hook up to Starlink, and it's going to really help them if there's going to be maybe a revolution. We'll talk more about that in a minute. This is from CNBC. Public safety advocates and political protesters upset with Musk's work and the Trump administration joined together in downtown Austin on Thursday to express their concerns about the robotaxi launch. Members of the Dawn Project, Tesla Takedown, and Resist Austin say that Tesla's partially automated driving systems have safety problems. Tesla sells its cars with a standard autopilot package, or you, of course, can buy the premium full self-driving option, also known as FSD. In the US, automobiles with these systems, which include features like automatic lane keeping, steering, and parking, have been involved in hundreds of collisions. But it doesn't say, but also far fewer than they would be without those, including dozens of fatalities, according to data tracked by the NHTSA. Tesla robotaxis, which Musk showed off in a video clip on X earlier this week, are new versions of the company's popular Y vehicles equipped with future release of Tesla FSD software. This unsupervised FSD or robotaxi technology is not yet available to the public. Tesla critics with the Dawn Project, which calls itself a tech safety and security education business, brought a version of Model Y with relatively recent FSD software, version 13.2.9, to show residents of Austin how it works. No, they didn't. They brought the thing to show them to try to prove that Teslas are a problem. In their demonstration on Thursday, they showed how a Tesla with FSD engaged zoomed past a school bus with a stop sign held out and ran over a child-sized mannequin they had put in front of the vehicle. Well, that's not quite exactly right. What they did is that they had a child-sized mannequin which was hidden behind a vehicle, and then just before the car got there, they pulled it out. And I don't think that human reflexes would have been fast enough to do it. But it's also 13.2.9, and the only thing I would give them credit for is that the vehicle probably should have stopped earlier because of the school bus that was stopped in the opposite direction and had the stop sign out. In most jurisdictions, you are required to stop on both sides. I don't know in Austin what the law is. I guess I should have looked that up. Anyway, do you know who's in charge of Dawn Project? Oh, could it be? Could it be? Yes, Dan O'Dowd, who also runs Green Hills Software, which sells technology to Tesla competitors, including Ford and Toyota. Oh, he wouldn't have an axe to grind, and he hasn't been out there trying his best to prove Teslas are terrible vehicles for a long time. Stephanie Gomez, who attended the demonstration, told CNBC that she didn't like the role Musk had been playing in the government. Additionally, she says she has no confidence in Tesla's safety standards and said there's been a lack of transparency from the company regarding how the robo-taxis will work. Really. And by the way, the article doesn't at all take any effort at all to counter any of this stuff. Another protester, Sylvia Revels, said she also opposed Musk's political activity, but the safety is her biggest concern. Citizens have not been able to get safety testing results, she said. Musk believes he's above the law. Tesla reports on their safety results all the time. It's very, very easy to see their results. I guess the last time that we heard about it, it's something like 80 times safer than when you're not using FSD. Anyway, that's that article. Then let's talk about this one from the street. You know, I never, ever, ever quote the street, but in this particular case, it does seem to me that it's at least, what I say, balanced. Anyway, you make up your own decision, but it is from the street. Take that into consideration. Over the past few years, Tesla's Optimus program, its division that focuses on developing humanoid robot technology, has come into focus as Musk has touted its progress. He discussed a future in which robots outnumber humans and perform many of the tasks typically done by humans. This may sound like something out of a work of science fiction, but Tesla's most recent news, more recent news reads more like something out of a novel by John Grisham or Scott Turow. The company is suing a former employee who left the company and promptly started a competitor, alleging that they took with them stolen trade secrets. This is not out of science fiction or any kind of fictional novel. Happens all the time. Happened to me twice. Zongi J. Lee spent 2 years at Tesla serving as a technical lead between August 2022 and September 2024. During this time, he advanced the robotic hand sensors and was entrusted with some of the most sensitive technical data in the program, according to the company's attorneys. When he left Tesla, though, Lee allegedly walked away with highly classified information that the company believes he used to launch Perception AI. Proception AI. So watch out for those Perception AI guys. Listed as being launched the same month that he departed. The startup's LinkedIn profile states that it creates humanoids dexterous enough to thread a needle. Perception AI did not immediately respond to an inquiry from the street regarding the lawsuit, and so far has not issued a public statement on Tesla's accusations. However, Lee has posted to X recently implying, but not explicitly stating, that he doesn't trust Musk. Tesla's facing a growing list of challenges for its robotics expansion. Oh no, they have there's 100, maybe well over 100 companies out there that are making humanoids, but I'm never bet against Elon. Musk has staked much of Tesla's growth prospects on its robotaxi launch and its plans to advance into the humanoid robotics market. However, the lawsuit against Lee isn't the only potential hurdle for the company to overcome as it rushes to usher in a turnaround. Last time I checked, they're the only BEV company in the world that's making a profit. They're making massive profits on their energy division. What do they need a turnaround for? Early in June, Tesla lost one of its engineering leaders as vice president of engineering. Milan Kovic announced he would step down from his role as Optimus, effective immediately. He said his decision had nothing to do with Musk, purely reflected his own desire to spend more time with his family. We know that people do burn out at Tesla. Even so, Musk's robotaxi ambitions are facing a growing list of challenges at a highly pivotal time. The company's declining sales across the US, Europe, and China indicate that it will need to make progress in other areas to remain competitive and keep shares elevated despite Musk's decision to return to the company. Tesla has teased progress from its robotics division, including a share of video of dancing robot. But Perception claims to have overcome one of the robotics' biggest challenges, that of creating a hand that can truly match human dexterity. It remains unknown how the lawsuit will progress, but in the short term, Tesla must deal with the fact that a new rival appears to be making progress in an important area. This is Randy Kirk. Hit the like, subscribe, notify. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do another video tonight. I might. I've got a couple of ideas. I'm not sure they're going to be ready in time for 7:45 because as I'm recording this, it's already 5:26. So maybe we'll get 4 in tomorrow, or maybe we'll just have one less this weekend. You could also join Patreon. That would be a very, 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 very nice thing to do. 𝐒𝐦𝐚𝐲 Sushko says, breaking. Following the release of this video, latest reports indicate the leaders of the Iranian dictatorship are fleeing to Russia. Islamic regime collapse in Iran may be imminent. Israel most certainly has operational plans for just this scenario. I'm seeing reports from a lot of different places that Israel really is bent on regime change this time, getting in a more Western kind of government there. Israel has destroyed all of the command and control, all of the radar, all of the aircraft, all the jets of the Iranian regime, giving them unfettered access to the skies above Tehran and other military locations. So, for me, it's been interesting to watch the Israeli military use the same tactic over and over. They start off with this surprising first and second strike that decapitate the regime. That's followed by shock and awe, just a massive amount of incoming from fighter jets and whatever else, drones, etc. This eliminates all of the defensive capabilities in the short, very, very quickly. They did this with Hamas, they did this with Hezbollah, they've done it with the Houthis, now they're doing it with Iran, and they did it with Iran once before. And then they're completely incapacitated with regard to being able to fend off the jets coming back and just bombing the crud out of them over and over and over again. And then what Israel's doing now is knocking out all of the launch vehicles for the missiles and also eliminating a lot of the missiles. Israel has also said they've got another couple of tricks up their sleeve, a couple of, I don't know what they got in mind, but they said, that we've got a couple of more things coming that will surprise the heck out of Iran. Well, that means that the Straits of Hormuz seem to be the last gasp for Iran. I don't know what else they've got left that they could use to possibly, upset Israel's apple cart. I don't think they're going to be able to do it with missiles. Just as I was coming on, just beginning to record this, they were sending over another 50 missiles, and one of them hit downtown Israel. But you've got to have hundreds of missiles getting to their target before it becomes any kind of a threat to Israel. So the Straits of Hormuz would be the issue. Of course, what happens there is they either put ships in there that block the Straits of Hormuz, or they actually sink ships in that little canal, that little channel, and then ships can't get through there, and that makes it more expensive to transport oil from various locations around the world, and the price of oil goes crazy. Some people are saying that if the Straits of Hormuz get blocked, or in any way, if oil is unable to penetrate to get through that area, the price of oil could be back over $100 by Monday or Tuesday. Personally, I don't think they're going to do it, but even if they do, it's possible that Israel or NATO, United States, etc., may have some plans, some theories, some approaches that might inhibit or keep them from being successful at this. And then, of course, if the Straits of Hormuz are not closed, I think we're still going to see oil in the up in the near 80, maybe even in the 80s, but it'll go away in a few days. This is not going to be a permanent problem. Okay, so the President of the United States continues to offer negotiations towards peace with Iran. I don't think that's what the Israelis have in mind, though. As they did with Gaza, they weren't interested in peace with Gaza. What they were interested in was regime change in Gaza as well. They were interested in regime change in Syria. They were interested in regime change in Lebanon. That's every place that they've been lately that they've dealt with. They wanted to change who's in charge to somebody who is peace-loving and is willing to work with Israel instead of trying to destroy Israel. I don't know why they'd want to think that way. What a silly idea. Finally, I want to talk to you about the business in Minnesota. And I've held off all day on this. I really wanted to get a read because the right was saying it was a leftist that did it. The left is saying that it was a right-wing guy that did it. All kinds of conspiracies coming out. Nothing really helpful from the police department yet. They haven't released his manifesto. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this. I'll probably say this again someday. Probably won't be the only time you'll hear me say it. I believe that almost all of the individuals who do acts like this, whether they're taking out individuals, whether they're attacking schools, whether they're attacking military installations, whatever they're doing, I'm going to tell you that I think most of them are mentally deranged. I'm disinclined. I have this. I will tell you that my heart starts beating, and I go, well, I'd love to pin it on the left, but I'm disinclined to do that. I tamper down that thinking, and I'm like, you know what? It might be left, it might be right, and it really doesn't matter because they're just nuts. And it's not something that necessarily defines the left or defines the right. It's something that defines that one individual person. So that's me. And that's, you may completely disagree and go, oh, those leftists. Well, yeah, oh, those leftists is still true, but it has nothing to do with these individual acts of cowardice and insanity. It has everything to do with those individuals. So I do believe that the left right now, they are much more inclined to be provoking and creating riots, going up in the face of police officers and creating all kinds of deliberate violence across our country. It's been true for, I don't know, at least 40 years. I think that's absolutely true. I don't see how the left could deny that that's not true. And yet they try, because they're propagandists, they try to say, oh, it's the right wing that are the scariest. They're Gestapo. They're going to come out, those right wingers, they've got all these camps off in the woods someplace where they're, hoarding their weapons and their methods of destruction, and they're going to take us over someday. I think that there are probably some right-wing militia groups that have their munitions stored and their rifles stored and all this rest of the stuff, but I don't think any of them are planning to take down the U.S. government. I don't think any of them are planning to take down any government, and I don't think any of them are planning to use it in the streets in the way that the left does. I think those people are planning that if the U.S. government gets out of control, they're going to do what the Second Amendment has called us to do, which is to stop that from happening. And I think it would be a very interesting, I'd hope I'd never have to see it to test my theory on this, but I think there's no country in the world that would have a better chance at staving off some kind of an attempt by left or right in the administration to attempt to impose some kind of new governmental approach on the people. I think the people would rise up. I think it would be very hard to stop them. And I think many in the military would revert to constitutionalism as opposed to following some wacko. That's what I think. But I do think that the left should not be doing what they're doing. I think it's a sad commentary on liberalism. I have many friends who are, smart liberals, and I wish they would denounce what's going on. It would be great if they would denounce it. Anyway, they're not, though. They're more violent. They're more tolerant of violence. But here's what I was impressed by today. I was impressed by very little rioting today. I was impressed by the fact that the preparedness of the various different police agencies was apparently excellent, and that these people were able to put down whatever was thrown at them. And here's what I was really impressed by. I was really impressed by the discipline of all the police agencies. And I think the liberals should be impressed too. They should say so. They should come out. I think that the left wing, the Pelosi's and all these people, they should come out tomorrow or the next day and say, wow, with all the demonstrations, with all the bad actors that were out there, that the military people, that the National Guards people, that the police officers, the sheriffs, all these people that are there to keep the public safe, they were disciplined as heck and did a great job of not going off and doing some additional damage by hurting somebody. But the left isn't looking for that. They're looking for their moment. They're looking for their one video that they can put up on TikTok and drive everybody crazy and create another level of chaos. And that's sad. And I can't leave you on a sad note. That wouldn't be like this program. So let's talk. I said it was the last thing, but let's talk about the parade. I didn't watch the whole parade, but what I can tell you is it was a great parade. It was a fun parade. Parades are cool. And I'm glad that the president did it. It's patriotic. It raises a good form of nationalism. Unlike what you were taught in high school and college, nationalism is not bad in and of itself. Just because the Nazis were nationalistic doesn't mean that from now on, every country that's nationalistic is bad. That's what I was taught in high school. That's what I was taught in college. I actually believed it for a split second, although I've always been slightly to the right of Ronald Reagan and maybe, I don't know, who could I, yeah. In any case, great parade. Way to go, President. Lots of folks showing up even in the rain. It was a fun day. And apparently, at least unless something's happened as I was recording this, everything went off without incident. We didn't have any national tragedy today, foisted by Iran or China or by some domestic terror group. So good for America. Maybe we can have a nice weekend and come out of this, building towards the age of abundance, the golden age, all the things that President Trump and Musk are talking about. Maybe that's what we'll see starting on Monday. We'll start moving towards that kind of an end result. How's that for a happy ending? It's been great talking to you. Bye for now.